Oh hey, didn't notice you there. Don't mind me. I was just practicing my favorite song by Toganashi Togaari called Void. Have you heard of them? They're a band from this cool new anime called Girls Band Cry. Are you familiar? No? Well, since you're already here, allow me to educate you. We have yet another entry into the ever-growing girl band subgenre of anime, and I'm 100% here for it. For any returning viewers, it's no secret that I am a fan of music anime, considering I've done videos on It's My Go, the latest entry into the Bang Dream franchise, as well as Show by Rock. As a musician myself, I always enjoy these kinds of anime because there's usually something that I can relate to on a more personal level than most other kinds of anime, and Girls Band Cry is not an exception to this. I've been enjoying what's out of the anime so far, which is about 9 episodes at the time of writing, and I'm sad to say that we're already nearing its end. So what is Girls Band Cry? Well, let's jump right into it. Girls Band Cry is the latest multimedia project by none other than Toei Animation. Toei needs no introduction, but as a refresher, they're behind some of the most legendary anime of all time, specifically Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Sailor Moon. I'm no expert on Toei Animation, I'm not too familiar with most of their anime outside of those three, but going off of what their legendary anime looks like, Girls Band Cry seems a bit out of character to me. Nevertheless, they delivered an excellent anime this season that's well written, has unique characters, and has a solid CGI animation style. In the beginning of the anime, we are introduced to our protagonist, Nina Isuri. She dropped out of high school and moved out of her home in the countryside at the age of 17 to start a brand new life in the big city Tokyo. Everything seems to go awry after arriving though. She constantly got lost, her phone died, and ended up not making it to her apartment in time before the office closed, so she wasn't able to get the keys to get into her new apartment. Noticing her struggling, Nina's new neighbors offer to help her, but she denies their help and goes to a coffee shop to charge her phone and weigh her options. Not too long after, she sees that someone that she greatly admires is putting on a street performance nearby and rushes to go see her perform. Nina meets Momoka, a guitarist who wrote a song that inspired her to go through with her big change in life. Momoka understands Nina's current situation and invites her to stay over for the night. While staying over, Nina learns that Momoka is moving back to her hometown because she couldn't cut it as a full-time musician after leaving her old band Diamond Dust and ultimately had to give up on her dream. Of course, Nina isn't too thrilled about this news and gets upset. She interrogates Momoka but wasn't really happy with any of the answers to her questions either. After waking up the following morning, Nina finds that Momoka is already gone, and that she left her guitar with Nina as a going away present. Still not satisfied with the situation, Nina rushes out, guitar in hand, to search for Momoka and tries to convince her to give her dream another shot. They find each other and perform the song Void, the song that inspired Nina, together. From here on, Nina's journey continues with a couple of more friends joining in on the fun along the way. Girls Band Cry makes it very clear that everyone involved has got a story to tell. No character gets left behind. Let's take a look at Nina to start. She had it rough between dealing with her strict family in her home life and with bullying outside of home. Not a whole lot about her family has been revealed so far, outside of some unconventional rules that must be followed at all times, but the bullying was a little bit more fleshed out. In one of the later episodes, we see Nina talking to her school staff because she got in trouble for being the victim, despite wearing a bandage on her head, which I assume hints at a physical altercation. They had wanted her to simply make up and shake hands with the bully. To add insult to injury, her bully smirked, knowing full well that she wasn't the one in trouble and can more than likely get away with it again. I wonder if this is a common thing in Japanese schools, seeing as I've seen situations like this be referenced in other anime that lean more towards the serious side, with March Comes In Like a Lion being a notable example of this. It's definitely a thing here in America though, at least it was when I was growing up. I was a victim of bullying as well, and anytime I told any figure of authority about it, I somehow wound up being the one in trouble for it. It's always easier for them to blame the victim than make the bully take accountability of their actions. Momoka's dreams didn't exactly go as planned, resulting in them ultimately being crushed. As mentioned previously, she was part of a band called Diamond Dust that she ended up leaving. They were actually pretty well off for an indie band and were even approached by a label. Under the impression that they finally got their big break, Momoka was happy that everything was going as planned. That is, until the label forced the band to be something that they aren't. Diamond Dust did what many people fear and hate, which was selling out. The label essentially forced them to change their sound and image into something that was a complete 180 from Momoka's vision of the band. Unhappy with the changes, she left and tried pursuing music on her own to no avail. What she learned from the experiences was that wanting to do your own thing doesn't really work out in the industry, which is unfortunately mostly true, and unless you sell out to the masses and just kowtow to the record label overlords, you're almost guaranteed to go nowhere. Subaru doesn't have the freedom to choose her own path for her own future. Being the granddaughter of Tendo Awa, a high-profile actress, She's expected to continue the legacy of being a good actor and has basically no room for anything else. Whenever her grandmother is around, she has to put up a very prim and proper demeanor. Subaru basically turns into what I can only describe as an ojo-sama, but without the laugh that those kinds of characters are known for. Whenever it comes to doing band things with the other girls, she's incognito and doesn't really like the idea of appearing on the band's social media. Subaru is very careful about making sure her grandmother doesn't find out that she's in a band because anything other than being an actress is unacceptable and non-negotiable. Not too many details have been shared about Tomo or Rupa, new members that show up later in the anime, but they've definitely had their own struggles as well. Tomo is very reserved and wary about everybody around her except for Rupa. Similarly to Subaru, Tomo also comes from a reputable family in which she's expected to follow the footsteps of. Her struggle is a little bit of her own fault in my opinion, seeing as she's an incredibly harsh critic and speaking her mind in the way that she does made her previous band and friend group fall apart. Tomo of course had good intentions, but not everybody responds well to the way she presents her criticisms. She was harsh because she genuinely cared and wanted those around her to improve their musicianship, but the outcome led her to become more introverted and afraid to speak her mind. Luckily for her, Nina understands and isn't put off by Tomo's very straightforward feedback. Even less is told about Rupa though. What we do know is that her family was involved in a tragic car accident in which nobody made it out alive, and she has to deal with the fact that she's never going to see them again. Because of the fact that she's also of Japanese and Southeast Asian descent, with her Southeast Asian side being a bit more present, she also falls victim to one of the unfortunate things that Japan's known for, which is racism and xenophobia for not immediately looking Japanese. It's only happened once in the anime so far, but it's still worth mentioning because I don't think I've seen any anime address this issue in this way. We've seen racism in anime before, like in Code Geass and Black Lagoon, but that's in an entirely different ballpark. Nina and Momoka have the most interesting dynamic out of everyone in the cast. Despite how much Nina looks up to Momoka, she has trouble getting along with her, and they end up butting heads a lot. The both of them aren't afraid of having their squabbles out in public either. When they're in the middle of a heated discussion, it's like the rest of the world stops existing, and they don't really care if they're causing a scene. Nina's and Momoka's goals for the band aren't exactly aligning either, which is the primary source for their fights. Nevertheless, the both of them, Nina especially, have strong personalities which allows for them to not really give up their own side of their arguments. There's clearly something about the way Nina speaks though, if she managed to get Momoka to change her mind, maybe not entirely, about giving up on her dream of being a successful musician. Everyone's stories are a lot deeper than I've mentioned though, but for the sake of preventing the video from being a million hours long, this is what we're gonna cover. What Girls Band Cry is really about is having the courage to raise a double middle finger and say fuck the world and fuck society. It's truly the embodiment of the youthful spirit of rock at its finest. In a story where the world gave up on these girls and where societal expectations prevented them from really finding themselves, Togashi Togaari fight to continue forward in life with their heads held high despite the bad hands everyone was dealt. Through their music, they wish to tell their stories and their honest thoughts and feelings and hope to inspire others with their sound. Nina was bullied and no one cared. Momoka's dreams were essentially crushed. Subaru has no say at all in her future because of her lineage. Tomo losing everything for simply expressing herself, and Rupa losing her family in a fatal car accident. Despite everything they've been through, they find themselves in each other and are able to keep going. Even if this girl band anime can kinda come off as a silly slice of life anime at times, and it is, the story that it tells for each of its characters is honestly very inspirational. Story aspects aside, the music and animation have been really good. CG anime gets a bad rap, understandably so, but Girls Band Cry is proof enough that it's not always bad. The animation has been really smooth and fluid. It lacks a lot of the clunkiness that CG anime is known for, and the facial expressions have been top notch. Generally, it's been pleasant to look at, and something about it gets the dopamine running. The music has been very fitting to the band's vibe too. What they play sounds exactly what I would probably hear in my head if I saw just an image of them without any additional context, which is honestly perfect and has a fitting sound for the fuck you attitude they're going for. Toei Animation made Togashi Togaari damn near flawless. Despite all of that and how good it's presented itself so far, I don't prefer it over some of the other music anime I've seen. Between this and Bang Dream It's My Go specifically, since both are in a way character dramas, I prefer It's My Go. As relatable as the theme of Girls Band Cry of not wanting to care about anything and doing whatever you want is, I personally think that It's My Go had a more compelling story to it. It's My Go is definitely way more dramatic and feelsy and makes for a less fun experience, so to speak, when the show goes out of its way to stress you out, feel sad, or make you feel some sort of negativity, but the way their story was told had me a bit more engaged. And it's not so much that It's My Go story is better, but it's just more along the lines of what I prefer to watch. Girls Band Cry also has an issue with fleshing details out. For example, Nina's bullying is, well, just that. Bullying. We don't really get examples of what exactly happened to her. It would be cool if we got an explanation as to how Nina got that bandage on her head. Was it a fight or assault? What led to her getting hurt? I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking points away from Girls Band Cry though. Both are excellent anime and I highly recommend watching both. I will say though, Girls Band Cry is less about the drama and more about the message, whereas It's My Go is significantly more about the drama than the message, but that's just how I see it. At the end of the day, both are good and I'm glad to have watched both. Girls Band Cry is still airing, so maybe it'll do something between now and when it ends that'll make me change my mind. So that about sums it up for Girls Band Cry. I'm hoping to see more music anime like it in the future because we absolutely need more of them. Might be my bias as a musician speaking, but regardless, Girls Band Cry has been an impressive showing of what those kinds of anime can do, and more need to follow in its footsteps. Are you watching Girls Band Cry this season? If so, what are your thoughts on it, and who is your favorite character? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, see ya.